What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is a video about the Shy Season 2, Episode 5 recap for Feeling the Heat. Now, when the episode starts off, we see Brandon coming from one of the long lines at the DMV, and then he sees Emmett sitting outside by the truck, and he's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing sitting over here, man?" And he said, "Hey, look, man, look at this." And he shows him an Instagram post of somebody saying, "When you want tacos, but they not open." He said, "Hey, look, man, you leaving money on the ground, man. It's about 25 people that came by here looking for stuff. Here, look. I got you a new shirt. It's not pink, it's salmon, like our salmon tacos. Now look, man, I'm suggesting we be partners." He like, "What?" And then this other guy came and he clicked it. He said, "See, 26, we losing all these customers." He like, sound like you want, Brandon said, "Sound like you want a steady paycheck when that's what I barely get." He said, "Look, I can help you double your bottom line and then we can split that. You know what I'm saying? Then let's go." Meanwhile, we see Kev and he's getting ready for a funeral for his pops. And his mama's saying, don't feel bad about your daddy relationship. You look just like him, baby. And then just leave him sitting there by himself getting ready with deep thoughts. Meanwhile, we see them pull up at the funeral and Stanley Papa said, "Hey, man, this is sadder than when T'Challa Pops died." And when the Black Panther daddy died, and they like, "Come on, Papa." And his daddy look at him kind of crazy. Say, "Boy, don't make me slap the black up off of you, boy. Get up in there." And meanwhile, Kevin see his sister and aunt and mother and everybody all arguing. And she said, the aunt say, "How dare you bring your bitch with you up here to the funeral? Truth is, he died the day you left him." She said, "Let's stop. Kids is here." She said, "Yeah, they his kids. They need to know the truth." And then we see his sister hugging the auntie. Meanwhile, we see Booger Beard sleep on the couch when all of a sudden he hear this dude cutting the grass. So he come on out and Ronnie said, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, man, they wanted me to cut the grass over here." He said, "Who told you cut the grass over here?" And then he told him Rafik, and he said, "Is everything cool?" He said, "Sorry, I get you some water, boy." Meanwhile, we see the funeral and we see Kev Pops laid up stiff and he just staring at him, looking at him like he was a stranger. Meanwhile, his sister's there crying, sad. She ends up putting something in the casket. Auntie was like, "It's okay, baby. Go and put something in the casket if you want to." And she put a little picture of when they were a family, little family, and also a little chain or something that he had gave her or something. And Kev, he didn't have nothing to put in there. He just put in a couple, sad looks. Meanwhile, we see coming from the grocery store at Pete's Produce, we see Emmett and he's pulling out popsicles. He said, "Man, when we ain't got no popsicles," he say, "Man, it's better to be having popsicles and ice cream on the hottest day than not." He like, "Man, whatever, man. Come on, man. We had to get this food together." And then he said, "Man, you ain't followed me on Instagram." He like, "Followed you where?" He said, "Give me your phone." So he geeked up and then he pushed it. He like, "Yeah, so Diddy got time to follow, but you don't." And so he looking, he like, "Man, what is this?" And then he sees a picture of his baby mama on there. He like, "Oh, man, that's one of my baby mamas or whatever." He said, "One of them? How many you got?" He said, "3, man. I got 3. He said, "Man, you can pull out." And he laughed. It's easier said than done. So they all laugh on that. He's getting too good at the end. He can't control it. Meanwhile, they see the leak in the water, and then he realized that the refrigerator going out. He like, "Man, this must have been out all night. This food is spoiled. We got to get some more food, man." He said, "Well, how we gonna do that? We only got $50, man, in the register." So Emmett says, "Hold up, man. I got an idea. Let me think of something." And so he's got his little brain working on getting some money. Meanwhile, back at the police station, we see Toussaint, and she asking Cruz, "You want to go on a little field trip?" He said, "Hey, I could use some action." And so right before they leave, he said, "Look up." And Detective Scary Curl walk up, said, "I know you think you got carte blanche, but you need to let me know what's going on in my backyard." She said, "Well, I got a warrant. Your backyard's about to get a little noisy." She said, "Well, you better follow the rules. Scary Curl's on your ass." So then we see them getting ready to go and serve the warrant. They just bust down the door. They don't knock. And she not following the rules. And Cruz is sitting there. And so now she look at Cruz like, "Come on." He looking like, "Man, what in the world?" They all bust inside there where the kids are that were serving. They had pounds of dope and money all on the table and everything. She said, yeah. So which one of these has got Reg's ear? Cruz point out, big lip with the part in his head. And he said, this one right here. And then she come all hard and punch dude in the face while he tied up on his knees and stuff. And Cruz is looking at her like, man, what's your problem? And she looking at all the drugs and stuff. She said, take everything. And so now this dude got a little bloody lip or whatever. And she's like, yeah, tell Reg this is his fault for sending a boy to do a man's job. When he ready, he come find me. And she leave her card right there on the table for him. Meanwhile, we see Jada, and she got a little hood ratchet friend came over to visit, talking about this a real nice girl. Yeah, so what's up? I gotta tell my friends you out here doing one. And she said, and Emmett not here either? What? She said, yeah, he was draining me. She said, yeah, kids will do that, girl. Shoot, as soon as I got rid of mine, I got me a man and some D. Yeah, tickle that fancy, baby. What's up with you? We could do a double date. She said, I don't know about that. Well, you know what? We'll work something out. I'll talk to you later. Meanwhile, we see Emmett and Brandon, and he brought a case of shoes. He like, man, what in the world is this? He like, man, this is like money, man. As soon as I put them up for sale, somebody gonna swipe their card to buy these. He said, man, where you got all these gym shoes for? He like, man, these ain't gym shoes. These are sneakers. He said, where you sneaking to? The gym. He said, all right, man, look, these, I don't know. Emmett said, I thought I was ready, but I don't think I'm ready yet. And then Lil Easy say, man, will you make up your mind? And so then he pull out a pair of 11 Jordans. And then he's smelling them. He like, man, these look like they ain't never been worn before. And then Miss licks the bottom. He say, yeah, I get one to rock and one to stock, baby. Woo. He like, man, something is wrong with you. And so Emmett says, so, man, I don't know, man, what I'm going to sell, man. And then Brandon say, just pick something, make up your mind. What about these? He said, man, don't touch my ones like that again, man. We gonna have problems. And so they start laughing or whatever, and he put them back. Meanwhile, we see the detective, she's at the desk looking at the case or whatever, when all of a sudden Detective Cruz walk up and he say, what is that bull? You said that you was gonna follow by the book. That wasn't by the book. What was that? And she said, I don't know. Why is this so important to you? One moment, you got a bleeding heart for all the black men in the neighborhood. The next moment, you take the same crooked statement and arrest another black man. What's your problem? Why is this so personal to you? And he get mad and he walk off switching or whatever. Meanwhile, we see Ronnie, and he's at the little place that Rafiq told him to come to. And they got Miss Pearl sitting there. What you need, baby? And then he looked for Rafiq. He like, hey, what's up, man? You made it. He said, yeah, man, how you doing? He said, man, I thought I was looking at a ghost or something, but you here in the flesh. He said, man, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. He said, man, don't worry about it. Just help out. Some people looking at me like they kind of strange. He said, it's all right. They're going to look. Just help them anyway. Meanwhile, we see Reg, he's getting the card from Detective Toussaint, and they saying everything good, Reg. He's like, hell no, it ain't good. Dude, I gonna want answers, and we ain't got none. Wow, we see Lil Easy and Emmett, and they inside the little freezer section of the grocery store, sucking up the air, talking about this must be what hugging Riri feel like. And all of a sudden, this security guard's like, get y'all butts up out of there. It's time for y'all to move, hogging up all the air, being cheap. Get y'all butt up out of here and doing that crap. And so then they leave from Big Bad Mama. Meanwhile, we see Jada coming home, and it's a letter and a rose, and it's saying, you deserve an apology. Then meet me at this restaurant. And it was taped on her door, so she's smelling it. She started having little thoughts, something strange, so some change may be going on. Meanwhile, we see Lil Easy and Emmett, and they got it packed over here at this place that Emmett suggested to go. He said, man, Emmett say, why you checking your Instagram? He said, man, what you did worked. I got all these followers now. He said, here, look, this is for the gram. And then they take another picture for the gram while everybody cheesing. Meanwhile, we see Ronnie, and he trying to help fix the heat and the air he fixed the air condition at the little place. And so he went down there. She said, if you can get 2 cold puffs, I'll let you have a grandbaby. He's like, all right, baby. And so he went down there, checked a few things, twisted a couple wires. Next thing you know, voila, it was working. It was real easy for him. Meanwhile, we see Reg, and he got this plan. So he got Jake. He told him, take this bag, go straight to this place and come back. Meanwhile, Red's sitting on the porch while Toussaint watching them, wasting her time. While we see Ronnie, and he's finished fixing the air conditioner. Rafik said, hey, man, that was great, man. Appreciate it. Say, hey, man, no problem, man. Glad I was able to help out. He said, hey, man, why don't you come back later and help out some more? He said, all right. And as he leaving, these little women was looking at him, and he kind of feeling self-conscious or whatever. And so he left. Meanwhile, at Perry's Pizza, we see Jake walking up, going in there, and he talking to the manager. He said, man, can I speak to the manager? He said, what's the problem? Then this bald bull said, hey, man, what's up, little shorty? He gave him the card right there, and he looked. He said, hook shorty up with a large cheese. And so then shorty leave, and then he looking mean as ever, boy. He got a stare that'll put you in the grave. He go up to the back, go to Perry's at the top, and he whisper in his ear and hand him the card while he was in the meeting, and he just continue on the meeting like it wasn't nothing while he got that information. Meanwhile, Detective Toussaint been sitting there for a few hours just watching, Reg sit there eating snacks, wasting time, and she realized he wasted her time. Meanwhile, we see Papa and Kev, and they throwing rocks. He said, man, my aim must be off like crazy, man. And so Papa and them, they trying to break the bottles. And then Jake come in like, man, what took you so long, man? He said, I had to stop to pick this up. And he had a nice little bliggity rolled up, little small, little blunt joint, like a bloint. And so while they were smoking the bloint, he was talking. He like, yeah, man, so what you think about dead people? And Papa steadily telling him, weed is a gateway drug. And then Jake like, man, this is legal in half the country. He said, man, crackheads don't know geography. And then so they was talking or whatever. He like, man, Kev say, man, you think my pop's mad I didn't come to all this stuff? He said, man, dead people ain't mad. They ain't worried about this stuff. And so he's steadily trying to talk to them about his feelings a little bit. But then he's starting to get high mixed with a little hunger. And then Jake like, man, I can't feel my legs. He said, me neither. And they start laughing. Papa like, I see y'all in rehab. Meanwhile, we see Jada. She got on her nice little dress on, hair did, and next thing you know, she said she meeting somebody, and then Emmett like, Ma, over here. And she was so disappointed. Her face just dropped. And she like, Emmett, what are you doing here? And he like, what do you mean? What am I doing here? You got my note, right? I heard what Darnell said. And so she like, well, come and pull my chair out. And so she trying to flip the script on him. And she's saying, so what is going on? He like, well, I heard what Darnell said, and you are a good mom. You deserve an apology. And so she smiled a little bit, and then so she was really upset, in a way sad, because she thought it was a date with Darnell. And then she like, well, when we on a date, you should let the lady ask first for your order. He like, we ain't on no date. And so then she kind of felt a little salty right there, because he like, we ain't on no date. And she like, well, we out here together eating dinner. And so he's saying, Mom, did you think it was Darnell? Why do you want to still date him? She like, no, I didn't think it was him. And why you worried if I still want to date somebody or not? He said, you don't need nobody because I worship and adore you. She said, oh, now I see why you get all these baby mamas. He said, look, promise you won't date. And she said, get that out of here, boy. Meanwhile, the next day at the pool, we see Kev and Jake and the fat man, and they all playing, and Kev ain't trying to get in the water. Then he see Coogie Taco Truck, so he gone over there to holler at Lil Easy. He like, man, what's up, Kev? And so he like, hey, man, nothing. He like, you all right? He said, yeah, you need some help? He said, nah, I'm good. I got my friend here helping today. And we see Emmett on, taking pictures. Then he get a call from Neva, and so he answered the phone, and she's saying in Spanish, did you get him? Did you pay child support to Tiffany? And she like, what? I gave her some money. She said, you got the little chupacabra, pinche nuevo. You ain't gonna have none. Pinche each of you huevos. Then he got the sister. I know you ain't doing my baby wrong. That's messed up, Emmett. You know you need to be doing better. And then he get a call from Keisha. And he like, you gonna answer that one? He said, nah, man, I need to figure out what's going on. He said, you need to check who you last was with. Sure enough, he checked Tiffany posting on there with a check. Hashtag baby daddy cash that check. And he's saying, man, why would she do that? And post all these other people. And he didn't Lil Easy say, that's why I don't mess with social media. Meanwhile, we see in Marion, Illinois, this nice smooth Mercedes pulling in, to the back of the pen, and his doodah getting out. And he got a little security escort. He come in nice suit. We got a briefcase, and we see it's the old man that run the gang. And so he started talking to him, dap, show love, whatever. And then so he talking, and he said, so how's everything? He said, good. And so he said, we got a problem though. And he gave him Toussaint's card. And so he said, you know what? And he gave him that picture next to him. Said, take a look at this. He said, home ownership. That's what's important. My grandbaby drew this. Having a home. What all this other stuff, that's not the main play for us. He said, maybe this detective maybe deserves a fish for all her hard efforts. And so he said, all right, work on it. He said, you got something for me? He opened up a case of Louis the 14th. That's some expensive Hennessy right there. He said, ooh, you gonna have a drink with me? And he smiled. He said, no, that ain't for me. That's for her. And then he said, her. And he looked to the side. There's this fine, thick brick house right there, standing there, looking good. And he like, ooh, my nigga. That was the best scene I done seen in the show. And he smiled because he know it's about to be fun time up in there in this joint. And so he give him dap, he leave, and he pretty much got everything he could want right now. Meanwhile, we see Keisha, she sleep. I mean, not sleep. She's sad, watching TV, and Kev come and talk to her while she all greased up. And he like, I saw you and mom arguing. What's up? She like, you too young to understand. You don't know. And Kev said, well, arguing at mama about stuff that ain't her fault, that ain't gonna help either. She said, you don't know what you talking about. And you need to get your whooped hairline fixed anyway while you trying to talk. And then he got mad and walked out of there talking about, man, forget you. And so he left. Meanwhile, we see Booger Beard, Ronnie, and he's opened the door, and Rafik say, man, where you been? We was waiting on you. Something came up. I had to go. He tried to close the door. He like, something came up. And so then they go and talk. He said, man, there was some ladies looking at me, and it made me feel bad that they about what I did. And he said, Rafik told him, man, that's all right, man. They keep looking at me too. And besides, one of the ladies said that you was cute. That's why they was looking. And so that made Ronnie feel a little better. Meanwhile, we see Lil Easy fix Kev some tacos, and he eating that taco like it's no tomorrow. He like, man, this is good. Where you learn how to cook like this? And Lil Easy said, man, I've been cooking like this since I was your age, man. Put his belly on the table, and he told him, so look, man, what's going on? He said, man, nothing, man. I had a funeral the other day. He like, oh, man, I'm sorry, man. Who got shot? He said, nah, I ain't get shot. It's my pops, man. He got killed. He died, and so he kind of gave him a little rub on the head. Meanwhile, Emmett is with his sister, and she trying to hurry up and get it in. He like, hold on, who is this? She said, that's my daddy. He died. He like, your daddy died? He said, I ain't want to turn down sex, but you my friend, and you ain't in the right space, and my daddy just died sex. That ain't what I'm really ready for. Meanwhile, we see Lil Easy, and Kev asked him for a haircut, so he in the bathroom trying to line him up, and then he just started crying, slowly breaking down. And he said, you remember your pops? He said, well, no, not really, but it's all right if you got those feelings. And he kind of gave him a little time to cry and be himself. Meanwhile, we see Reg, and he talking to Doodah, and he's saying, yeah, I got a new plan on way to move the money. This guy legit all over, we could use him. And then he said, all right, so that sound good, but you need to stop with these rookie mistakes. The old man ain't tolerating it. He said, man, it wasn't my fault. And he screamed, shut the fuck, and smacked the wall. He said, I'm taking 67, 63rd from you. And he said, do that. He said, say something else. And all you be is one of them niggas out here selling weed. Nah, what we gonna do is take those, and then I'm gonna go and meet up with this guy you talk about and see what he talking about, as far as him needing an investor or not. Meanwhile, we see Ronnie, and he come out on the front porch, and he saw these kids playing in the fire hydrant, and so he was gonna get his little hammer, a screwdriver, his wrench to take it off, and so they can get some water. And when he came, he saw Jada with them two puppies hanging out, and she was trying to look good, and it threw him off. He like, "Whoa, hey, how you doing? Looking good." And she says, "Oh yeah, I was just stopping by, whatever." And he said, "Oh, I appreciate it." She said, "What you gonna do?" "Just take a look. Just wait a second." And then he run across the street and turn the water fire hydrant on, and all the kids, in the hood, that's like going to the, beach or something. And so everybody celebrating. His fake beard was about to fall off and stuff. Meanwhile, we see at the taco corner, Coogie and Kev, they serving up everybody. It's being busy. They happy. Next thing you know, the customer they got was Perry. And so he said, "Yeah, to get these tacos." And so he get it. He started to bite it or whatever. And he said, "Ooh, these are good. Are you the owner?" He says, Emmett says, "No, this is the owner." And then Kev says, Lil Easy says, "Brandon, hey, I know you. You that guy on the TV commercials." And he says, "Yeah, man, that's me." He says, "So, man, you guys, you know what I needed when I was just starting out? Somebody like me." And then he said, "Oh yeah." He said, "Yeah, man, if you ever looking for a little investment, here's my card." He gave him his card, and he said, "All right, man, thanks, man, I appreciate it." He said, "No problem. I like this. These are good tacos, and I like to see young brothers succeed." And so then he walk off, and they like, "Oh man, look at that. That's Perry's. He just walking around eating tacos like it's nothing. Man, he could, invest in us, man. We could do all kind of stuff, man. So, man, we really is hustling." He said, "Yeah, man, we just like Perry, man. We trying to make our way." And so then they end the episode like that, and he thinking he may have a good opportunity with this Perry dude, as if he was going to invest in his food truck and maybe expand and grow. Who knows? Maybe even sell slices of pizza. But we all know that Perry's background is kind of shady, and somehow or another they're gonna try to manipulate Brandon and take advantage of him to launder money. Also, it seems Detective Toussaint is getting on the bad side of Cruz, because she doing the training day style, and he ain't about that. He more training wheels style. So we'll see. In the end, I want to thank everybody that support me at patreon.com. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.